Today I want to talk a little bit about the word lukewarm that is also on the Bible, and us, the people that we went through our awakening, through our dark night of the soul. I believe that we understand the Bible now, and it's not the way the church explained it to you at all. They used it for a different reason. They used it to keep you stuck in a cycle. That's why they push away the pagans. That's why they push away the people that meditate. Like literally every time that you talk to a person about meditating, that's how we went. That's how we got through it. That's how we got our spark back. That's how we got our fun back. That's how we got our joy back. Through meditation, sun gazing, through fasting daily, eating one time a day, only fruits and vegetables, and fasting 7 days, 4 days, 9 days, however many days you can fast for it. That's fine. I do it for about 7 to 4 days every month, every end of the month. So we learned because we were guided by our spirit, our guidance from within, which that is the reason why so-called Jesus or whoever you pray to, that's why he said him and the Father were one. It's just like me and the Father are one, which is the intuition. Is your own inner spirit. We are all God connected. So lukewarm, this is for the people who believe that they had no purpose in life. We all have the same purpose in life. We figured it out. The people that just went through our awakening, through our dark night of the soul, we just figured it out. We all have the same purpose. If you feel like you've been broken to the point that you've been through a narcissist relationship, through a hard life, through that you're in drugs, addictions, whatever, your parents mistreated you when you were little, let me tell you something. That is part of life. It is not that God put you through it, or whoever you want to believe. But the truth is that we do live in a world where all of us are born in different areas of the world. So a lot of us, we have to go through some harder things than others. So whether you believe in reincarnation or not, that is how this life works. But I had it really hard in my life. A lot of people wouldn't understand. But there's a lot of other people who went through their awakening and through their dark night of the soul that had it bad as well. That is why we can tell you that since we all have the same purpose in life, it is to become light again. And that is who the true peace in heaven is pretty much offered to. Because that is the goal of life. To learn from your mistakes. To learn from pain. So we live a cold life since we were little. A lot of y'all still living a cold life. A miserable life. A life where you almost want to unalive yourself. A life where you almost go crazy. You feel like they're turning you crazy with everything they're throwing at you. But what we learned is that the goal is to overcome that. And once you overcome that, you have to add. Now you live through the coldness. Now you have to flip that around and become light again. Meditation, fasting, eating one time a day, fruits and vegetables, sun gazing, sitting with your thoughts. That's why in the Bible, these guys ran to the darkness, to the caves. They all woke up in caves. They all woke up in mountains. It wasn't that a God came from the sky. They sat in meditation. The Bible's not going to tell you that. The church doesn't want you to know that. But we found out the hard way. We went through it. So we can tell you. We went through it. So we understand now why they went to the caves. We understand now why they ran to the mountains. We understand now why they ran to the deserts. We understand now why they woke up inside a well. We understand the darkness now. So we understand the meaning of those passages in the Bible. But the church doesn't tell you the right ways. They literally tell you that they battled monsters in this. We battle monsters as well within. That is the monsters. That is the devils. That is the demons. Your problems. The hard life that you had to live through. That was demons. That was devils. But they don't want you to know that. But whenever you flip that, you already lived that cold life. Now you have to find the connection back to nature. Back to meditation, sun gazing, eating right. Fasting. Why? So your body can get healthy again. So you can get this light back. I am 32 years old. And my age got pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. I turned a couple years down by meditating, by fasting, by sun gazing. It turned my life around. I know a lot of people don't even tell me I look 32. So I'm trying to share this with you. We went through hard times where it felt like we were living in the cold. But once we connected with nature, meditated, sun gazed, fasted, dealt with our issues as hard as they got inside of us. We wanted to go back to our addictions, to our old passes, our old lifestyles. But we had to sit in meditation and just deal with it. The more that you sit with yourself, the more you learn to love nothingness. And this is true joy when you can live with nothingness. That is another reason why even in the Bible it says for you to not fall in love with the material world. Because the material world is what keep you wanting to go back. But once you learn to release it all, even what happened to you, and take it as lessons instead of problems, because there is nobody in this world who's not really gonna have anything bad. The lesson here is not for the one who is already saved because they didn't went through any problems. The lesson is for you, the one that had it hard. That's why even in the Bible, the guy Jesus, he said that he came for the broken, because he came to tell them that there is no such thing as sinning in reality. The church tells you that. We are here to experience pain, human pain. But we're here to transmute it, to grow from it, to become lukewarm. Once you go through that cold life, and then you flip it around into nothing but happiness, that cold and then this heat of love, you turn it around. Light is love. Everything, you love everything once again. You learn to love yourself instead of the outside things. So with this light and this darkness, you become lukewarm. And that is one thing that the church is not going to teach you. That the word lukewarm was never about what they teach you in church. It was always about overcoming the hard times of the life, of living. The hard moments. Transmuting them into light. And once you fully transform into light, once again, forgiving the past to release from you. It is not to forgive the people who did something bad or whatever in a way that, they don't have a fault anymore. No, but you learn to accept it, that everything had a purpose. And that was to allow you to grow. Because now you won't go back to those people. Now you won't go back to those habits. Now you won't go back to being bad as you used to. Now you learn to stay in the light because you grew. So now you have become lukewarm. Once you become from the coldness of the darkness to the light of love. Think about that.